right, welcome back to the KnivesFAST channel. Woohoo! Say hello to Ren and Stimpy and Powder Toast Man and Log and TV. And let's get started with a Kizer review. And this one comes by way of White Mountain Knives. It's a loaner from Justin over there. Kizer Hic-Cup or Hiccup or Hic-Cup. 3.15 inch blade made in China. There's the model. It's 154 cm black. Blade. Wow, I can't read it. Man, it's so small. I literally cannot read that. Flipper, satin, gray. Wow, can't read it. But anyway, it's rich light and steel liners with a button lock is what it is. So this is black rich light. They also make this in a gray micarta, but this is black. You do have a lanyard hole there. Woo! You have full liners that do stand proud ever so slightly, like Kizer likes to do quite a bit. And you do have a button lock that stands proud of the scales. Really cool. You have a flipper tab with jimping on the business side here. And that rich light just looks good, feels good. Now, you do have a good grip to that rich light. Really, really nicely done in that regard. All right, let's give her a flip. Boop. All right, so you have a really cool, what I'm going to call, what do they call it? Let's see here. I'm going to call this a drop point, but it can also be called a spear point. Doesn't say, but it's even got a clip thing going on here. There's a lot going on here, but I think I'm going to call it a spear. Actually, I changed my mind. So, really cool satin finish. I'm going to wipe that blade. Guys, I use knives while they're here, and they kind of get a little gunky. Now, I did use this one to cut a bunch of boxes down the other day, and it performed very, very well in that regard. And now it's nice and clean. You got the Kizer logo on this side, 154 cm. You do have the Azo logo there. Azo is the designer, and there's the name, the Hiccup, and you also have the model number there. You do have jimping that goes way up, and guys, a very, very thin blade. I dig this a lot. Really, really like the blade on this knife. Now, this came without the thumb studs installed. There was a round hole there, and I installed the thumb studs myself. Very, very easily done. They came in the package along with some extra hardware, which is awesome. Now, again, this is a button lock, so it lends to being very fidgetable. I really dig this one as far as that part of it goes. As you can see, we'll talk a little bit more about the action in a minute because there are some things to talk about. Deep carry all the way to the back of the knife, and it is left and right ambidextrous in that regard, which is great because it's a button lock. On the blade, again, that jimping comes way up here. Let's go ahead and talk about ergos. So it's a full 4-finger knife. There's nowhere to choke up, but that's good. That's fine. You don't need it. You do have good jimping way up here to where your thumb would be. And again, very thin blade stock that comes down, high flat grind, comes down to a very nice slicey edge. Worked really well for cardboard, cuts paper. Again, I've cut with it quite a bit, so we're not going to do much on camera, if any. And again, the pocket clip is a typical, it sits on the scales. It is not cut in. Flat screws, but you do feel that in your grip, but it's not a hot spot. I mean, you do feel it, and it is switchable to the other side. Now, action-wise, as you can see, good detent, pops open really well. You're not going to fail this. It kind of lagged a little bit there. Yeah, you're not going to fail it. Now, when I first got it, it was really easy to middle finger flick, and once I installed the thumb studs, really easy. Now, over time of using it, it has gotten tighter than that. But by the way, you see drop-wise, it is phenomenal. I mean, it's running on bearings, and it just comes home. I mean, it's good. The detent is good, as you can see there. Yeah, really good. The button does stand proud. We'll talk about that. It does have some texturing, jimping on the button. Now, What happened? I don't know. I cannot middle finger flick this knife anymore. No matter what I do, I can thumb flick it, but it's tighter than it was. I talked to Justin over at White Mountain. He says sometimes these budget button locks from Kizer, they can do that. And usually what he does is put some KPL heavy on them and it fixes it right up. I don't have heavy. I just have regular, so I'm not going to do that. But it just may be something to do with the spring or, just getting tight. I'm just not sure. But it still does phenomenal with the flipper, but it's something I definitely had to mention. Now, as far as lockup, no wiggle, no blade play, very good. Now, something to think about. Now, that, as I've said twice now, that button sticks proud a lot. I was cutting those cardboard boxes, and 2 or 3 times I actuated that button while I was cutting. I would be cutting the cardboard and kind of bearing down like this, and I would disengage the lock. So something definitely to think about. Now, maybe you're not a goofball and you're not clumsy like me and you keep your hand back here. Good for you. But for me, I bumped that a couple of times, and it's good for you to know about. Now, it is centered. Oh, no, wait. It is off to the left, just ever so slightly off to the clip side. And again, I have used this one quite a bit. So, who knows? But there you go. Now, let's talk specs. Oh, stand up. Here, we'll lay you down. That's fine. Specs on this one, 7.32 inches, 3.15-inch blade, 0.110 on that blade stock. So that's around 3 millimeters, I think. I don't know. I can't do conversion in my head. 154 cm, plain edge, flat grind, a black Richlight handle, button lock, 3.17 ounces, and it is designed by Azo. Now, typical Kizer box, nothing special, so I'm not really going to go through that. Here is, let's do it in the middle here. Here is the Rat 2. You can see we're a little bigger on the blade and the handle, and the Rat 1, it's smaller than the Rat 1. So somewhere in between, boy, I'm off-centered here. There we go. Somewhere in between the two, you can see that a lot better now. Sorry about that. Let's tilt down just a little bit too. There you go. Sorry, I kind of drift there sometimes. But there you go. That's a very good comparison in my opinion, and the one that I will pretty much keep using at this point in time. So very, very cool knife. I like it a lot. So what do you guys think of this one? I know there's kind of a button lock craze going on right now. And you know what? I like button locks a lot. They're very, very good, and they're very, very fidgety. So it really depends, I guess, on what you're going to use the knife for. And again, like I said, there is a gray micarta version, but they are sold out. Now, this did come from our friends at White Mountain Knives. And by the way, Blade HQ calls this a drop point. So we'll go with drop point. That's fine. It is a drop point, and that's what I said initially. It's the very first thing I said was drop point. It's a very classic, but you got that great swedge, and it's below center. So yeah, it's a drop point. So we're just going to put that away and say that. And what was I saying now? Okay, so it does come from White Mountain Knives. If you use my code KnivesFAST at checkout, you will get 10% off. This one is still available, but the gray micarta is not. So there you go, the Kizer Hic-Cup. Sorry. No, I'm just kidding. Really dig this knife, guys, with some caveats and some different things. Now, by the way, size-wise, it's better for me than any of the other Kizer button locks that have been, except the Beglighter XL. This one is a much better size, say, than the Cormorant or the the Cormorant or the, what was the other one, Casey? The Assassin. And by the way, I actually like, because of the way it fits in my hand, I like this one better than the Assassin or the Cormorant, but that's just me. So there you go, guys, the Kizer Hic-Cup, and hope you enjoyed it. Give me a thumbs up. Let me know what you think as you leave the facility, and thanks so much for watching the KnivesFAST Crazy Person channel.